Hi, I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Janis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Larsen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Hey, welcome back, tennis fans. We're here for another Game to Love podcast. And, well, it's just crazy, all of these results we've been having at the French Open, and none more surprising than yesterday. We had Stan Wawrinka crashing out to Hugo Gaston. Bit of a shock that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just to start off, sorry we couldn't go live today. We've had a few issues going on. Robbo, as he's talking right now, is in his car.
Yeah, you have to excuse my bad posture today. If you're only watching, I'm sort of set up a green screen in my car and had to drive to an area where there's some 4G signal just to try and do a podcast. But we're trying to make it work for the fans and trying to get you a podcast out there. So, yeah, we're doing our best.
It's weird because I keep looking at the comments and there's no comments.
I know. We're just going to have to style it out. We're just going to have to just talk amongst ourselves on this one.
Yeah. But like you say, the big result there is obviously Gaston knocking out Wawrinka. No one really saw it happening. Gaston, someone predominantly who plays a lot of challengers. Before this, wasn't really impressing too much on the Challenger Tour. He was losing quite a few of his matches. So for him to then go into on the big stage, Grand Slam, playing Stan Wawrinka, it's huge, man. And to be beating him is just amazing, especially looking at that fifth set. We was both watching it live because it was after the podcast, wasn't it? And we was having a watch along, and we was thinking, is he going to do it? We kept thinking at 3-0 up, is he going to bagel him? Is this going to happen? And it turns out he's handed one straight to Wawrinka.
I know, it was crazy, wasn't it? I didn't even see it coming. He's just been sort of, I don't know, just this crazy young player who's just come out of nowhere, really. Like you said, he wasn't really performing on the challenger scene, and then he just suddenly gets this wild card into the French Open. He's had not the most difficult route so far. I think he had Zvere in the first round, and then Nishioka, who's been playing well, to be fair, but he still managed to get past him. And now Stan Wawrinka, and obviously French Open champion from the past. This is just incredible. The French they were going mad, weren't they, after that match? He was in tears, his family.
The scenes, it was really emotional. I remember we was on a call, wasn't we? And I had like goosebumps watching it at the end.
It was nice though, wasn't it? It was just
it was.
In this type of weird time, there was still his family embracing. He was really emotional on the court. Just the biggest moment of his career. And to do that at the French Open against Stan Wawrinka, there's not many people that can say that they've done that, beat Stan in 5 and bageled him in the same
I don't think
match.
I think I saw statistics. Stan's never been bageled before at a Grand Slam.
Wow. So there you go.
Yeah,
that's an amazing statistic.
I don't know if it's any Grand Slam or it's just the French Open, but I saw something quite crazy. And for Gaston to be doing that is huge. And I think it does help being the fact that he's at home. Do you know what I mean? Like in France. Not just that, it just makes it more special, I feel. Because he's one thing he's always going to remember. Growing up, we must have watched so many different Roland Garroses. And
definitely
to be finally there against someone who probably is a hero to him.
Yeah.
Is huge.
Well respected, isn't he? Well respected especially at the French Open. He's so good on the clay, Stan, and he was even the one person saying he could beat everybody in this tournament, anybody put in front of him. So that just goes to show how well he believed he was playing and how much of
I bet he regrets that interview now, though. He must have like a right mark saying, I feel like I can beat anyone now. Plays against Hugo Gaston, then gets knocked out.
240 in the world and loses to him. I mean, it's pretty crazy the way, but it always happens that way, doesn't it? As soon as you make that statement, then you go out in the next round, and to somebody you wouldn't have even expected. We were talking about him taking out everybody, Dominic Thiem, and now, he's gone. And then we got Hugo Gaston in the next round, which is great for him. This is, he's having the time of his life, isn't he? This is probably the best days of his life now. How can you replicate this type of high? Surely he's just got to milk it while he's got the chance.
Well, we've got Dominic Thiem next. Obviously, we spoke about on the last podcast the Casper Ruud Dominic Thiem match. We thought that was a really good one, and Dominic Thiem looked really good. Seriously good, in fact. So I feel like it's going to be a huge ask now for Gaston to really pull off anything special against Thiem in this kind of form. If anyone can do it, mate, Gaston can.
Yeah, well, I totally agree. I think it's going to be a really big ask. He's going to need the whole support of all of the French fans to try and even help him get a set from Dominic Thiem. I think it's going to be a real tough team. How he dispatched Casper Ruud and not even playing well either, and he didn't even drop a set. So that's just Grand Slam champion type form. And I'm just can't wait to see what if the level raises again from Dominic Thiem. Really,
I think Gaston's going to be happy, mate, regardless of the result. Like, he's had a brilliant tournament. He didn't expect to get this far, so for him, it's been a massive success, regardless to what happens against Dominic Thiem. Playing 5 sets as well. Thiem only having 3 sets.
Yeah.
Everything looks like Thiem's going to just walk it. To be fair, 3-0. I'm going to watch the match. I think it's exciting. I think is it on later today? I believe.
I believe so. I'd have to check on another window. 1 second. I can have a quick little look. Oh, 1 second. It is. I can't see it listed. It might be on tomorrow.
Probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sunday. Yeah, I'm getting mixed up.
That's all right. No, mate, they've got to have a little bit of rest, haven't they? Especially after 5 sets. He definitely deserves one. I want to play a bit of devil's advocate here with the result as well, just because we've got to see both sides of the equation. Do you think Stan was really in the top form? Or he got bageled by Musetti recently? And
clearly Stan's not in his prime, is he, right now?
No.
He was in challengers and he's had an injury, pulled out of one of the challengers for injury. So he's not in top form by no means. However, you'd still fancy him. The way he's been playing so far in this tournament, I thought he looked quite good and solid. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I don't want to diminish Gaston's achievements really to talk too much about Stan. I just think it was a brilliant performance by Gaston, and I kind of want to just leave it at that.
I think that the way I sort of see it with Stan these days, there's a real gulf between his top level and his bottom level now. Whereas before there was he was even playing badly, he could have probably taken out someone like Gaston. Now it's not so forgiving. Like, you can play badly in the past and he probably would have squeezed past him maybe 4 or maybe even straight sets still. Now it's a real test, and I think that's just maybe the age, maybe it's a bit slower around the court, and he has to play his best tennis to get through these slams, and unfortunately he was just beaten by the better man on the day. And Hugo Gaston, all credit to him. I think Stan Wawrinka still had elements of brilliance, but you got to do it over the 5 sets, and he couldn't do that.
Well, let's talk about his polar opposite then. That's a good little segue there to Yannick Sinner. Obviously, he's a young man on tour, 19 years old, I believe. And 18, like you said, 18, is it?
Is he 18 or 19?
He's super young, this guy, and I think he's 19, but you'll have to check.
You're right, he is 19. Sorry, shouldn't have ever doubted you. Right,
he managed to beat Correa in 3 sets.
That's impressive.
I thought Correa might be able to beat him, but Sinner is just like the experienced man at 19. It's just bizarre.
It's like an old man now on the courts, isn't he? It's just wandering around straight sets wins at the Grand Slams against top opposition. And this is somebody who'd been playing really well, Correa, hadn't he? He'd taken out Benoit Paire, who had looked like he was coming back. So, Sinner, really promising. Be interesting to see who they have in the next round. I might have a quick look to see.
I also saw, I think the last 19-year-old to get to the 4th round of Roland Garros was Novak Djokovic. So he's in good company there.
Really? That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
So, Yannick Sinner is against, another one that we'll probably touch on next, which is Alex Zverev. So Zverev made it through in straight sets in the end against Cecchinato, not without some slow starting again. He started quick this time, but the second set he looked dodgy. But Cecchinato just bottled it on the serving for the
That's
second
the thing.
set.
Cecchinato's an okay player, but he's not that next level. With Yannick
No.
Sinner, he is a bit better, I feel. So
Yes, I
I think
agree.
this is going to be a much sterner, tougher test for Zverev, which should be quite an even contest, I think. I think Zverev obviously is a clear favourite. You'd think Zverev's going to win, but I think Sinner could really trouble him if he's playing if he's playing well on the day. And he's not played many sets, Sinner. He's been getting through it quite comfortably so far. So he could be a little dark horse.
Speaking of people going through quite comfortably, even though there was a real, I don't know, problem at the beginning of the match for Schwartzman against Gombos, he managed to somehow claw himself back. I think it was 5-2 down, wasn't he, in the first set, and won on the tie break.
He saved, 6 set points in the first set?
Yeah, 6 set points, and then didn't want to drop a set. I think that's all straight sets still for him in this tournament.
Yeah, no,
that's incredible.
Mate, that's a ridiculous. Yeah, it just shows his mental side now as well. We know how good he is technically. This is just a little bit, if people doubt on his mental, no more, because he is incredible. And Schwartzman, I keep raving about him on the podcast. I've been doing it for years, Ben, and he is the real deal. Like, he can beat most players when he's on top form. He can beat more or less anyone you'd think on clay.
Yeah,
I genuinely think you've got obviously Team, Djokovic, Nadal, yeah? They're like the top 3 on clay. But Schwartzman, if he's really at his top, there's a chance, and one of them aren't playing particularly at their best, he'll beat them, I think. And we've seen that in Rome. Nadal's come back for a while, not quite his best. Unfortunately,
you have an off day.
Yeah, you have an off day against Schwartzman, and he'll take you.
Yeah,
I think it was with Djokovic. He didn't have an off day in the final, did he? He was on top form.
Yeah, Djokovic was really firing on all cylinders, wasn't he? I think he was a little bit pissed off after the US Open. He just had a point to prove as well. So Schwartzman, unfortunately, getting the baton. Well, it wasn't a battering, but he got the brunt of it. That's the word I was looking for. Didn't get battered. He got it was comfortable though. That was the only thing.
Well, someone else was comfortable. Rafael Nadal.
Oh,
we predicted, we didn't really see too many troubles there. I was watching the match. I thought it was an entertaining match. Travaglia at times had some good moments, but just Nadal was incredible.
He was bigging Travaglia up during the match, saying that he's on some sort of level even close to Rafael Nadal. He's
no, I was just bigging him up because he was being a bit too disrespectful on him. I think he's a good player.
Nowhere near the level of Rafael Nadal.
Of course, he's nowhere near Rafael Nadal, mate. No, not many people. I don't think anyone is really.
Well, exactly.
On clay. So that's obvious. You're saying an obvious statement. I'm saying Travaglia is an elite tennis player, specifically on clay courts, and he's not someone you can just easily think, "Oh, I'll beat him quite comfortably." So it is a tough test for Nadal in that regard. But because it's Rafael Nadal, he makes things just look easier.
Yeah, but there's levels to this game, as we know, and this is just if you look at somebody, the only people that could probably challenge Rafael Nadal really at the French, it would be a Djokovic or maybe a Stan on somebody who has one of those good days, or maybe a Dominic Thiem. But yeah, all of these other players, it's a walk in the park for Nadal, and you saw it in that match. It's just so dominant. It was just ridiculous. The first set is just set the tone for the whole match, and Travaglia
it's the way he mixes up the pace, man. Nadal mixes up the pace so well. He'll hit like a short ball, a long ball. He'll be hitting spin out here, spin out there. It's just that you don't know where. It's just so many. There's too much court to cover against Rafael Nadal. It's physically impossible.
I'd like to see the miles that Travaglia ran during that match, because he was going back left to right like a headless chicken. And it was pretty crazy to see. I just thought Rafael Nadal's level just dropped a little bit. That's the only reason that he got 4 games in the second set. He had a few just average shots that he played, but it's still enough to just get the set. And then in the last set, he obviously knew that his level will drop, so he upped it again. 6-love, just ridiculous. And now, well, there was one interesting stat that I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to bring up on the last podcast, which was, how we were saying about Love 15 Dominic Thiem. Well, if you go Love 15 against Rafael Nadal and Roland Garros, he breaks your serve 2 out of 3 times. That is like a break point to Rafael Nadal. You go love 15, he's more than likely going to win that game after
Yeah,
you've
that's
lost your
bizarre.
first. Yeah, so that is how ridiculous he is at Roland Garros. You don't give him even a sniff at that service game, otherwise he's probably going to break serve. And Travaglia, well, don't know how many love 15s he must have had. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, you can't. It makes sense though, doesn't it? He's just so powerful and like the dominant force at this tournament.
yes.
And
Well,
I think the way it's going is going to be quite cool because who's he got next?
he's got Sebastian Korda, who we saw
Corda, yeah.
went through an impressive fashion against Pedro Martinez, who we probably thought would have beaten Korda due to his amazing clay court form. And Korda's just, he's a bit of a surprise of the tournament, really. Up there with Gaston, obviously, as well. But Korda's been doing it with relative ease as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Corda's the one who knocked out Aslan Karatsev in the qualifying, if people didn't know.
exactly.
Which
Yeah.
is super interesting because Karatsev was a clear favourite. He's a guy who's been on a ridiculous run since tennis has resumed. So that was a good indication of what level Korda's playing in at the moment. I'm excited. I'm going to watch the Korda Nadal match. I think it's a bridge too far for Korda, but it's a brilliant test for him to be able to play against the best, to see kind of where his game's at.
Most definitely. I can't really see it anything other than a Rafael Nadal straight sets, to be honest. But I'd just be interested if he can get into the sets a little bit and just see if he can maybe even get him to a tie break or just see if he doesn't get broken too early in each of the sets, makes a bit of a game of it. That would be really good because even if you were to get him 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 and one break in each set, that would be somewhat of an achievement at the French Open, I think, if you're playing Rafael Nadal, which is crazy to say.
Yeah. So we have a look at some of the matches that's going on right now because there's some super fascinating results happening.
1 sec. Let me just,
we've got Berrettini. Last time I checked, was on the brink of losing. I don't know if that's actually happened now. He was 2-0 down.
Yeah, do you want to bring it back up?
Yeah.
He did, and he lost in straight sets to German sensation Daniel Altmaier. And I was watching this match, and I think it was partially due to Altmaier in the first set totally outplayed Berrettini, and he couldn't handle this backhand down the line, and it's just hitting the ball so clean. And in the second set, Berrettini was serving for the set and just bottled it completely.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him. He capitulated on 5-4 up, and then he let him back in the set, and that was it. I think the mental side of Berrettini went then.
Yeah, I watched the tie break, and he won the first point. He broke Altmaier straight away on the tie break, but then just wasn't really able to maintain it. He made a few half-hearted attempts to come to the net where he was kind of in no man's land, and Altmaier just with his backhand, he's got a really solid backhand.
So
and they were just able just to pick it off. Really, he's very accurate.
Yeah, I love watching the kid. He's just he's a breath of fresh air, really, on the clay. And I didn't even think we would even be talking about this late in the competition.
I don't think anyone did, really. Altmaier and Gaston have been the surprise packages so far this tournament. We know they're top players on the Challenger Tour, but they're not really the top. I would say Altmaier's probably achieved a lot more, in my opinion, from what I've seen than Gaston. I've followed him a lot more closely in terms of I think he's won quite a few challenges, looks really good. So yeah, based off that, Altmaier one I'm not so surprised with, but I am the fact that he just beat Berrettini. I didn't give him much hope there in 3 sets as well. But the one person who will be really happy with this is Novak Djokovic, I think.
Yeah, he's just
it's another big seed gone from his side, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't. Well, I think this is where Berrettini disappoints us a little bit, and I hate to say it because I love watching him play, and I think he's got so much potential just to be he could be a top 4 player if he really replicated his form on a consistent basis, but he just doesn't do it at the big stages, and I think there's the mental side of it he's really lacking, and if you lose to someone like Altmaier at this stage in the competition, it just doesn't spell good things for you. I just think that it's sort of the polar opposite. The person that we're going to speak about next, who looks like they're getting better and better within that side of their game, is Andrei Rublev, and his mental side of his game, you've seen it really come on now. And you saw we said he wasn't really playing well against big hitters and stuff like that before the US Open. He beat Matteo Berrettini in the US Open, which is an amazing win. Now he's he come back from 2 sets to love down, great mental edge to win that, and now he's beating Kevin Anderson, who's been looking unstoppable.
Not in this match. So Kevin Anderson did look quite poor. Like, I watched the highlights. He wasn't. Okay. I don't know. He just didn't make. He made a lot of mistakes. He wasn't playing very well, in my opinion. Still, Rublev has got to beat what you've got put in front of you. Do you know what I mean? And that was still a tough test because Anderson, he can have maybe a set off, and then the next set he's firing. So you can't give that caliber of player any kind of like what's the word? You don't want to give him like a little scent to get back into the match, like an indication that you're showing a bit of signs of weaknesses for him to then progress.
I think he's very confident, isn't he? He just comes across. He has an air of confidence on the court, Rublev, and I think that's really like positive. I know that I felt like I was sort of speaking out of turn, and I didn't want to jinx him before the tournament by saying he was going to have a really good French Open because he won Hamburg, but the signs were there in Hamburg that he can do it on the clay as well, and he won that tournament, beat Tsitsipas, came back, went against adversity again against Tsitsipas to win it, and now he's proving he can go deeper in the tournaments, and you're going to see him up against. Well, let me just bring this up on my other side. He's going to be up against either Martin Fucsovics or Thiago Monteiro, who is playing at the moment. And I would
if you just go there, you've got a gut. Sorry, just above. This is quite a big moment. I don't know if you want to scroll to the right slightly because the gut was he just broke as you were speaking earlier. It's 30-0. So he's 2 points there from taking the set.
This is one we were speaking about yesterday, weren't we? About this one, and it's such a close match between the two Spaniards. And I fancied Carreño Busta. I know you were going more towards the way of a gut, but this could easily go 5 sets if a gut takes this. I think.
Yeah. He doesn't want Busta to break now because the tie break's going to be. I don't know. That could spell bad signs for a gut.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Busta's been playing so well this tournament. I just thought he looked a little bit unstoppable, to be honest, on the clay. He hasn't even been losing many games. So, really, really impressive that Bautista Agut's really fighting back now. I think that's
there we go. He's got a set point, as we were saying that. So
that's good to see.
Another person who's doing well down there is Monteiro. I think he broke against Fucsovics early on. Fucsovics has clawed the break back, but it looks quite tight now with the business end 4-4.
Who would you fancy winning that one?
I said Fucsovics at the beginning. So I'm going to have to stick with that, I guess.
Who would you think? Do you think Rublev would be troubled by either of them in the next round?
No, not at all, really. I think Rublev will be okay. Fucsovics can cause maybe a little bit of issue, depending if he's like really firing. I think if Fucsovics can sort of bring it to a 5 set, that's a big if. I would favour him in a 5th set against Rublev, purely because the guy's got ridiculous stamina.
Yeah,
and he's someone who will always, he'll just keep going and just sort of grind you out. But if Rublev starts strong and goes into like a 2-set to love lead, I don't see any way back for Fucsovics. Even if he takes the first set and it's really tricky then for him to get back. And with that, a gut takes a set.
There you go.
I want a gut to win. I like a gut.
I know you do. Oh, someone a toot outside. I know. Well, yeah. So we got some interesting ones there. I would have thought Tsitsipas playing Bedeni. I would say Tsitsipas probably goes through. Dimitrov, Kobayas-Baena. This one could be interesting. You'd expect Dimitrov to probably win it, but you just never know. It could
easily cause an upset. The way if he plays the way he did against Shapovalov, if he can maintain that level, I think he'll cause a lot of problems with Dimitrov.
One of the closest matches for the round for me is this one.
I said it on the podcast. I can't call it whatsoever. Like I see nothing between the two of them in terms of Garen's the better clay court player. Khachanov is probably the better tennis player in general. I couldn't call it at all.
Yeah, I agree. And Djokovic, Galan, Riveros. I think we can only see that going one way. Despite Galan Riveros being really good on clay, I just don't think he's on the same level. Should we go back and have a look at the women's from yesterday?
Yeah, let's do that.
give them a brief overview? I know that there
I
was
think
some big.
we spoke about them as well, like the first few yesterday on yesterday's podcast. So we'll just skim through them. We won't go so thorough. But
Okay.
still, there's some good ones in there.
Yeah, I mean,
So
we
like
touched on
Svitolina,
all
we
of
spoke
these.
about that. We thought she was super comfortable.
That's a big
Swiatek, we
upset.
spoke about that.
Caroline
Podoroska, we spoke
Garcia
about.
goes through against Elise Mertens. Did we see
Yeah,
that
that's
coming?
huge. No, not at all. I remember I was talking on the podcast yesterday. I was like, yeah, Mertens, that'll be easy. Just
Yeah.
shows what I know, mate. And it looked like it was after that first set. Stormed it 6-1. I don't know what happened to her. That's really poor, in fact. That's bad for her to be doing that. After winning the first set 6-1, she must have been in a commanding position. And then, come on, that's just really poor to lose. And it looked really close. That third set going 7-5. So it must have been a tight third set. But Mertens is a lot better than Garcia.
Yeah, for sure. It's very sad to see. Unfortunately, the next one down, Svetlana Boronkova is out.
Yeah.
Krejcikova goes through in 3 against her. So I told you she was a good player. You were more on Poronkova's side. I think I was more heart than head.
Yeah, for sure. And I think after that first set, like I was thinking, yeah, it's going to happen, mate. Poronkova's got this easily. In fact, I stopped watching it after the first set. I had it wrapped up as, yeah, that'll be all right now. And no, it wasn't to be.
Well, there you go. And next one down is, this is probably the biggest shock for me from the whole round of the women's. Trevisan, the Italian, taking out Sakari, and the Italian's still doing it. Berrettini
this isn't really too much of a shock for me. I think the one below is actually more of a shock.
You don't think Trevisan? She's 159 in the world.
I don't know. Trevisan's the one who knocked out Bertens. She knocked out Coco Gauff, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's put some respect on Trevisan. She's predominantly a clay court player.
I don't rate
how
Coco
well the
Gauff
Italians
on clay
been playing.
so much, but Sakari, come on. She's been defeating Serena Williams of late.
Coco Gauff knocked out Joe Conta.
Yeah, but come on. British on clay, I'm never going to be a big advocate for.
No, but it's irrelevant to that. Trevisan is a really good player, man. Like, her rankings are not a fair reflection of how good she is, specifically on clay courts, I may add. So for me, you'd expect Sakari to win. She's the favourite. And after that first set, it looked like she was going to. But for me, Trevisan's a top quality player. So I'm not that shocked. The one below, on the other hand, I am shocked. Obviously, the last time we saw Bertens was getting wheeled off the court again.
What? What the hell?
And all of a sudden, she's come back and she's beaten Sinakova 6-2, 6-2. Like, it makes me question. Maybe, was she really that injured? She must have...
Mind games.
I don't know what she's doing. Like, because Arani spoke out afterwards saying that she saw her in the restaurant laughing and joking, like acting completely like normal after the match.
Might have been on drugs. I've hooked her up to some.
Was it a case of that she just had a bit of cramp and she's just overplayed it massively, and now she was just in? Yeah. So was Sarah Arani right the whole time to be angry with Bertens? I kind of am a little bit. I'm just a bit disappointed. Like, why are you winning 6-2? Why are you all of a sudden smashing it? And I watched the match as well because I couldn't quite believe it when she took the first set. Mate, she looks as fit as a fiddle, running around, looks absolutely in top form. No signs of any injury whatsoever. And she's had, what 2 days rest? Come on, it's a bit weird. I'm sorry.
She's got the world's best physio, I think, over there. That's all it is.
And Sinakova's no mug, mate. She's a good player as well. Experienced player. She's not someone who's just going to just give up. So it's just bizarre, man. I don't really buy it. In fact, I've gone off Kiki Bertens a bit now after seeing this.
I don't think I was ever too well. Last time they played, Kiki Bertens managed to beat her 2-0 as well, and that was in Madrid last year.
Oh, Kiki Bertens is a great player. That's why she's in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she's 8 in the world.
Yeah, so it's like she's an elite player. It's just, I don't know, this whole attitude thing where was she faking an injury? Was it just a bit of cramp? She's overplayed. She did look in a lot of pain. So I don't want to be too harsh. Like, it did look serious. Like, I was worried about her afterwards, but I don't know. It's just not a good look. Then going back in a few days' time, looking completely fit and smashing the next opponent 6-2, 6-2. Well,
she's got to work cut out for her next round. Trevisan versus Bertens next round.
Well, probably Bertens going to win, mate. The way she's back to form now. She feels she's fully fit.
Well, I don't know. Trevisan, I can see maybe causing an upset there.
Yeah, no, I want Trevisan to win too. Do
Yeah,
you want to
it'll be
go
a
to some of the
valiant.
matches going on right now?
Yeah, sure. 1 second.
I think there's only a
There's two, I
few.
think, going on right
Yeah,
now.
because they started on a bit later than the men's.
1 second. There you go.
Nice one. So this is the one I wanted to talk about. Is Burrell, the 17-year-old French girl. We spoke about on the podcast yesterday. We both really wanted her to do well against Zhang, and we know that she could potentially. It looks like she's up a break there.
Yeah, she is. She beat
I don't know
out,
if you're going to
knocked
go
out.
to the right. Is she threatening the break, the double break in the set?
Apologies. Yeah, sorry. Need to squeeze it down a little bit. There you go.
That's all right.
Okay,
Yeah, she's got a set point, it seems. Well, she must
Set
have had 2
point.
set points by the looks of it. She's just lost one of them. So she's got another opportunity here for a set point. I feel like she has to take this one. You do not want to be serving it out against Zhang. I feel like the nerves could get to her a little bit.
The home crowd getting on her side again. It would seem. Seems that the French players are doing all right.
They're rising to the occasion.
It's the lower ranked ones as well that are doing it as well.
Oh,
which is really great.
She lost it.
No, the set points.
Well, still do. She's still there.
She can serve it out.
Hopefully, she can close it out. Yeah, and then you got Sabalenka there below with Ons Jabeur. Ons Jabeur took the break. That's cool. That's good.
And then Kenin against Ballerina. I reckon we could see maybe Ballerina possibly win this. I don't know why.
Well, I don't really fancy Kenin at all. Neither of us do. We get a lot of love in the comments usually for Kenin, saying that they would love to see her in the final, or they think that she can progress in this tournament. For me, it's Halep's like streets ahead of her, and even a few of them players there. I would say even Ferro, a Kvitova, even an Ostapenko or Badoza, either of them really when they're firing. I think all of them beat her. Muguruza as well. So for me, I don't rate her too highly. Just watch it. It's going to come back and bite me. She'll probably end up winning it now. But that's just what happens.
You never know, do you? Yeah. So there's some other interesting matches on today. Ferro versus Tig. Martic, Sigmund. I think we reviewed these yesterday.
Yeah, we've gone through these.
Yeah, we've been through those. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how those all get on. Yeah.
Do you want to just quickly go down though to the bottom? I just want to talk about a doubles match actually.
All right.
It's a very high. We don't ever do much doubles, but if you look at that top one, Herbert Mahut, Postfield Sock.
Yeah,
that was a massive. That was a really good match. I turned it on at the point it was 8-7 Jack Sock, I believe, in the tie break of the second set. So they had a match point. I'm not sure if they had any more before that, but Herbert and Mahut, we know I was talking about them on the last podcast. They're potentially the best doubles pairing we've seen for some time. I know the Byron brothers won't be too happy with me saying that, and a few of the others, but I really rate these two together. I think they're incredible. Herbert at the net is he's top drawer, man. Like, I love watching him there, and they just work so well together. And watch out, man. I think it'll be interesting. We'll keep tabs on it maybe when we get closer to the final. But for me, Herbert Mahut, I think it's going to be really good, and I hope they go all the way and win it. You've got Murray, Skupski there. They went through. Cuevas, Lopez. Yep. In the other one, you've got Ram, Salisbury. Probably fancy them. It looks like they've done that, yeah. And who's the other one? What you probably fancy? What Quayets, Myers there? Yeah, they took the first set as well. So yeah, there's some good double pairings there. But for me, the one who takes that is just going to be Mahut and
I think they're looking very strong. The Ram and Salisbury though, I reckon will run them close.
Yeah. And then on the women's side, for me, my favourite pair in there, you can't really ignore Strakova. If you look at their form, I don't know if you want to get that up. I think it's them. They've got a very formidable partnership.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah,
my God, I'll just bring it up.
Put it on the screen.
This is ridiculous.
Mate, I've got all the stats, yeah. I'll look at all of them. I've got all the doubles as well.
No, you've got all the stats and I'm sat in a car. How the world changes. Let me just bring up this.
It's working all right though. The internet's gone quite smoothly so far.
Yeah, it's not too bad. We could have maybe done it live, but you don't want to tempt fate, do we?
Well, it wouldn't have happened probably if we went live. So yeah, like you say,
it a bit.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to bring up. Obviously, they're the winners of Rome. They're the winners of Doha, Dubai. Basically, they've won everything this year. They've just been formidable on both hard courts and clay courts, rarely dropping sets. When they do, they're comfortable in the third set. and they've beaten some good double pairings there as well. So for me, they are the ones to beat. Looking at the form,
Looks
however,
like
I
it.
really would love to see a Coco Gauff McNally. I don't think clay's really their surface at all. On the hard courts, I think it would be a lot closer between them two and these two. However, we'll see what happens. Just wanted to bring that up. I think it's quite an interesting thing
it's
to look
good.
at.
Yeah. I didn't even realize their form was so ridiculous, and no wonder that their odds are so crazily low for them to win. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Goff McNally, they've bageled Kozlova and Lynette in their first set. See if they can get through. A couple of youngsters there, try and form a good partnership that could go on for a few years. And as I say that, they've just been broken. There you go.
But McNally and Goff, they're a really good doubles partnership. I've always spoken. I like them two together, and I think they will win things in the future.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Stay tuned for that. Both young, like you say, as well. So
yeah, it's very,
only
very
ways
promising.
up.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to touch on any other tournaments that were going on, or
no, I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll do that maybe in another podcast.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Sorry we couldn't join us live with all the comments. We like doing the lives more than you do. For a start, it's easier because the video is straight out. We don't have to worry about uploading it and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But also, it's nice to hear from you and just listen to our stupid thoughts at times.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Please subscribe if you've not already. Make sure you like the video, and we'll see you later on tomorrow, I believe. Unless I do a live watch along today, which I'm not sure if I want to do yet, because I'll be alone, and that's going to be a bit of a long one. But we'll see what happens.
Can always try.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Peace.